Is it fun? Yes. Yes, it is. So, welcome to Rage 2. As far as the thing being called, is it fun? I don't know. For all I know, 1,000,000,001 YouTube channels use that thing. I didn't look it up. It's not a set name. It's just something I thought of as I'm recording this. So, hey. So, my review, is Rage 2 fun? Yes. Yes, it is. That's it. Bye. No, really. So, you'll see some little spoilers here as far as abilities and weapons only. There will be no story spoilers in this in the gameplay you're seeing in the background. These are all done after the story. These are late game stuff. It is an open world game, so you're allowed to explore the world when it's done. It's how open world games work. So I don't really have a list of things. This is me just talking. This is a discussion. This is me just talking about what I liked about the game, what I didn't like the game, all in a spoiler-free zone. So in case anyone wants to check that out, and if you do want a more spoiler discussion, use that in the comments below. If you don't want to be spoiled but you still want to have a discussion, use my Twitter handle, use Discord. Use the Facebook page, use any other method to contact me. But spoilers will be in the comments, non-spoiler video or other media, whatever. That being said, Rage 2 is an open world game set in post-apocalyptic type world, twice over from the first game. I have not played Rage 1 since it released. So when this game came out, I didn't remember jack. I didn't remember the story. I didn't remember plot details. It wasn't until after I played the game that I was like, you know what? Maybe I should go look at those. Maybe I should go see if, there's some plot stuff that I need to catch up on. Luckily, there are some things here and there, but I will say confidently, you do not need to play the first game to enjoy Rage 2. Rage 2 is enjoyable on its own. It's enjoyable as a standalone story. As I said, when I played Rage 2, I had nothing that reminded me of the first game because it had just been that long. I literally just did not remember anything about Rage 1. There are some connections, but again, I didn't know that while I was playing. So I enjoyed it a hell of a lot without knowing those things. So I think you will as well. Now in Rage 2, the primary thing here is open world game. That is the primary focus. Now you may be thinking, well, duh. If you're gonna make an open world game, then the events, the things you do in that open world need to be enjoyable. They need to be fun to do, because if not, then it becomes a grind fest. Then it becomes like Assassin's Creed Unity. I love you, Ubisoft. Some of the Assassin's Creed games, Far Cry 4? Was it 4? Yeah, 4. Those are just two of the big AAA open world games. The first Watch Dogs, not super fun. A lot of it became grindy. That doesn't mean there weren't fun moments. We'll use Watch Dogs as an example. Some of the spy missions, seeing little fun character things when you were hacking into buildings and stuff, that was fun. That was cool. I like those little things. But for the most part, when it came to Watch Dogs and then Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, it's funny that I'm naming Ubisoft games, and I don't mean to do so intentionally. They just make a lot of open world games. Ubisoft is known for making open world games. They have other games, sure, but that's what they're known. Wildlands is another one. So when you're playing these games, you don't want to feel like a grind. You don't want it to feel like, well, let me do this. I love open world games. That makes me a little bit biased. I'm a person who likes it, but I only love open world games because I have like attention disorder. So I want to go watch a movie or YouTube or something on my right monitor while I'm playing grinding rep or grinding levels on my left monitor. That's usually what I do. And then when story missions come up, I pause or turn off my other monitor and I focus on the story for a while. That's how I play that's how I play almost every open world game. But there's certain open world games that are just so good, where the side objectives are so fun or so interesting that you don't really feel the need to distract yourself per se. Rage 2 is an excellent example of a game where its open world side activities are all fun and interactive. I wouldn't. I would say there's a lot of open world games where you can play and turn off your brain. You can just do stuff, you know. In Rage 2, you do kind of focus, and it keeps you interested in everything you do. In the gameplay footage, I'm not sure how I'm editing this together, but in the gameplay footage, you'll see a car chase, like destroy the convoy type objective. And I've noticed, I don't think it's in any particular order. Like if you rush to where I'm at right now, which I'm not spoiling, but if you rush to where I'm at right now, I don't know if you would see this enemy, but it seems to me that the convoy side objective missions, whatever, ramped up in difficulty just as I went. I never got to a point where I tackled one convoy that felt like it was weaker than the one before. Everyone felt stronger. That could be totally wrong. I could just be absolutely freaking lucky as crap. But if I'm not, if it's scaled throughout the whole open world scenario, then that's great. There was a point where towards the end of this, when I was finishing up some side stuff, convoys looked freaking crazy. I didn't even want to attempt it. Like it was just a huge amount of cars and stuff. Other objectives like the auto sentry turret are examples why the game isn't exactly perfect. The sentries have scaling attacks. As they get harder, they have more attacks that they'll dish out. Outposts will have harder enemies to kill, more enemies. The side objectives here are almost what you would expect for a Rage 2 open world game. It's nothing innovative that I can think of, unless, you know, there is that scaling difficulty no matter where you are in the world. I like that. But then that brings me to stuff like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Getting to Ubisoft again. Assassin's Creed Odyssey has scaling combat for its story, but not for its open world objectives. And I felt like that was backwards when I played that game. Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I felt like should be the other way. I'm the type of person who loves to grind, who loves to do side objectives, who loves to level up my stuff. So when I do the story, I just breeze through it. I like that. I'm not ashamed to admit it. That's how I like to play my games, because I hate more than anything else to get to a story point where it's getting really good, or there's a really good mission and it's like, oh man, you just went through this 4-part mission, you know, the first 3 parts that are like really ramping up, and this 4th part you finally got to go do this, and you're under leveled and you just can't. No matter how hard you try, you just can't. You have to level up. I hate that. No matter what game I'm playing, I hate that. In case anyone wants to know why, that comes from my love for my all-time favorite personal game, not logical favorite game. My all-time favorite personal game, which is the Kingdom Hearts series. The very first Kingdom Hearts, and in retrospect, Kingdom Hearts 2. If you didn't grind, you just try to do the story, you'd find yourself in a very tough spot. And that's not to say that it's impossible, because there's people who do the 0 XP runs, critical and proud mode. But I digress. Rage 2 does a really good job at the open world missions. All the side stuffs are fun, as hopefully you're seeing from the side stuff here. I am rushing through it again. This is late game. This is after the story is done. So don't expect to just blast through these like I did. If you've seen the Let's Play, then you can understand why it's easy for me, why this looks easy. And if you didn't see the Let's Play, this probably looks way easier than you might think it is. So understand that I grinded for a lot of stuff. So this is late game with a person who has lots of upgrades. That leaves us with the story, though. The story, I'll say it's okay, is what I'll say. I can't exactly say I have fun, but I'll say it's okay. It's not bad. It's not a bad story. I think it's short. Most open world games, when you look at the story versus the other objects to do in the game, and when I say other objects or activities, I'm not referring to collectathons. I'm not referring to collect 50 graystone skulls and bam, you unlock a skull throwing grenade. Rage, why don't you have that? Why can't we throw skulls as grenades? That'd be amazing. So I'm not mentioning, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like legit objectives that you see on the map and it's checked off. You know, like outposts. I got all the outposts done. Um, what are these things called? Big boy, you're either seeing on the screen or about to. The giants, the gargantuans, whatever I call them. Those, I checked them all off the map. Convoys, check those off the map. You know, actual things that are on the map that you can check off, not collectibles. I don't include those when I talk about other activities, side activities. That being said, most open world games, most of them, about 30-40% of your completion, like the completion criteria, is a story. And the other 60-70% is open world activities. The thing with Rage is it felt like, had I not done any of these activities, the story would have been done in about 3 or 4 hours. Like, let's say I didn't need to grind. I don't think you need to grind this game. I don't feel any real, I've never felt a point where I needed to. I did because I wanted to, but I didn't feel a point where I needed to. And I think it hurts it a bit. When you have an open world game, you expect the story to go along well. A perfect example of this that's not Ubisoft is Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn does a really amazing job at interweaving story points with open world, you know, activities. I'm trying to avoid saying the word grind because everyone views grind as a bad word. I like grinding as long as it's done properly. Horizon is a perfect game, not perfect game, but a perfect example of story mixed in with grinding. Spider-Man, the Spider-Man game for PS4, another excellent example of open worldness with story inside of it. Like, it really felt like a good 50-50. Half the game was story and half the game was the other activities. But the other activities also had stories, so you can argue that about 75 or 80% of Spider-Man was story-based because those side objectives that you did had their own progressing story. It didn't matter which one you did first. The point was being that they all had their own story that you progressed with. So I hope that kind of lets you know what I think of Rage. It's about as non-spoilers as I can get. But if you want actual spoiler discussion, comment below. I will get into it with you about certain aspects of the game. If you want non-spoiler but you want to talk about it, hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. Just make sure you type in you don't want spoilers or no spoilers. If you want to ask about a certain point in the game, if you dare to ask in the YouTube comment section, by all means, type in no spoilers and ask a question. I'll answer it. But just, I can't promise everyone else will not spoil you. So thank you for watching. This is interesting. I usually do a 10-minute discussion at the end of every Let's Play. So I tried separating it into a different video. Hopefully you like it. And I'll see you next time, guys. I hope you enjoy Rage 2. I enjoyed it. It is fun. The story is short, but there's a lot of side activities to do.